Hello, you're kicking off the Friday's edition of QPVN English News Bulletin. You're with Milinchi and the headlines. Vietnam and Russia foster cooperation in many fields. Military and national defense leaders inspect preparation for whole military POLITICO-MILITARY conference in the first half of the year. Military press spread good virtues of Anglo soldiers. At the invitation of General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, Russian President Vladimir Putin paid a state visit to Vietnam. The official welcoming ceremony for the Russian leader was held on June the 20th, chaired by President Tô Lâm. After the welcoming ceremony, the two leaders held talks. The Russian president's visits demonstrate Russia's commitment to its relationship with Vietnam and also affirms that Vietnam actively implements the consistent foreign policies of independence, autonomy, multilateralism, and diversification for the benefit of the nation and contributing to peace and stability in the world. After the welcoming ceremony, President Tô Lâm held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two sides agreed to strengthen political exchanges and dialogues at all levels through all party, state, and national assembly channels, foster the education for the young generation on the friendship to constantly consolidate and promote political trust, creating a favorable foundation for stepping up the bilateral cooperation in all fields. The two sides hope to promote cooperation in the field of defense and security, especially cooperation in responding to non-traditional security challenges, and closely coordinate with multilateral forums on defense and security, especially the mechanisms led by ASEAN, in accordance with the principles and regulations of international law. Vietnam is ready to promote its role as a bridge between Russia and ASEAN, making positive and responsible contributions to ensuring peace, stability, and development in the Asia-Pacific region and the world. Regarding the EC, also known as the South China Sea, the two sides support ensuring security, safety, and freedom of navigation and aviation. Not use force or threaten to use force, resolve disputes in accordance with the principles of United Nations Charter and international law, especially the 1982 UNCLOS. Support the full and effective implementation of the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the EC, and work together to reach a practical and effective code of conduct in the EC. Regarding the conflict in Ukraine, President Tô Lâm reaffirmed Vietnam's stance in favor of resolving disputes by peaceful means in accordance with international law and the United Nations Charter, based on the respect for the legitimate interests of the parties, ready to participate in international mediation efforts with the participation of relevant parties to seek a sustainable peaceful solution to the Ukrainian issues. Under the witness of the two leaders, Vietnam and Russia exchanged a series of bilateral cooperation documents on education and training, finance, science, and technology. At the press conference after the talks, the two leaders said they had approved a joint statement to deepen the Vietnam-Russia comprehensive strategic partnership. On the afternoon of the same day, General Secretary of the Communist Party of Vietnam Nguyễn Phú Trọng held talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Regarding the situation in Vietnam, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng briefed the guests on the outstanding and comprehensive results over nearly 40 years of Vietnam's renewal. In the coming time, Vietnam will promote the achieved results and overcome challenges to realize the goals of the resolution of the 13th National Party Congress. The host affirmed that Vietnam always values the traditional friendship and a comprehensive strategic partnership with Russia. He hoped President Putin and Russia will continue to strongly support the maintenance of peace, stability, security, safety, and freedom of navigation and aviation, and Vietnam's legitimate rights, resolve disputes in the EC of South China Sea by peaceful means in accordance with international law. Regarding the situation in Ukraine, the party General Secretary emphasized that Vietnam hopes to soon organize dialogue and hostilities, resume negotiations to soon restore peace on the basis of international law and ensure legitimate interests of related parties. President Putin stressed that Vietnam is a friend and a reliable partner of Russia, and developing the comprehensive strategic partnership with Vietnam is a priority in the diplomatic policy of Russia. The guest expressed his expectation for a great impetus from the visit
for the bilateral relationship in the coming term, while praising the obtained achievements of Vietnam over nearly 40 years of renewal. The guest also briefed the host on the situation in Russia, as well as the external policies of his country. He put emphasis on the settlement of international and regional issues on the basis of international law and UN Charter and by peaceful means, including the sea issue.
Following his visit, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính hosted a reception for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Prime Minister Chính expressed his pleasure to welcome President Putin to Vietnam for a state visit on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the Treaty on Principles of Friendly Relations between the two countries. He also affirmed Vietnam is always grateful to the people of the former Soviet Union and the Russian Federation nowadays for their value support during the post-struggle for national independence and reunification, as well as the current process of national defense, construction, and socio-economic development. For his part, the Russian president thanked for the warm welcome as well as the sentiment of the Vietnamese leaders and people. He also affirmed Vietnam is a trustworthy and long-standing partner, while expressing his impression of Vietnam's achievements in socio-economic development and implementation of foreign policy and international integration. The two leaders agreed on many measures to promote economic and trade cooperation, which are the pillars of the two countries' cooperative relationship. As part of his visit to Vietnam on the same afternoon, Russian President Vladimir Putin met with National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn. On the occasion of a state visit to Vietnam from June the 19th to the 20th at an invitation of Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, President Vladimir Putin sent an article for publication to Nhân dân newspaper.
In his article, President Putin stated that it's symbolic that his visit to Vietnam took place around the date that marks the 30th anniversary of the Russian-Vietnamese Treaty of Foundations of Friendly Relations. This strategic document opened up vast opportunities to strengthen and develop the whole range of bilateral ties, giving it a powerful impetus and increasing its dynamic at the new historical stage. These time-proven traditions of fellowship and mutual support provide solid foundation for furthering the bilateral relations of comprehensive strategic partnership. Concluding his article, President Putin affirmed to continue to develop bilateral ties and cooperation for the benefit of the two peoples, for stability and prosperity in the region and the world as a whole. He also expressed his belief that by relying on the best traditions of friendship, mutual trust, and mutual assistance, the two countries will achieve all ambitious goals.
The visit of Russian President Vladimir Putin holds special significance as this year both countries celebrate the 30th anniversary of the signing of the Treaty on Basic Principles of Friendship between Vietnam and Russia and move towards the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations in 2025. This visit provides further momentum for the development of Vietnam-Russia cooperation across all fields.
The state visit to Vietnam takes place shortly after President Vladimir Putin assumed his new term in office. Notably, that is President Putin's fifth visit to Vietnam in the past 24 years. Vietnam is the only Southeast Asian country to have welcomed Russian President 6 times, including a visit by Dmitry Medvedev in 2010 during his president tenure. This clearly demonstrates the importance and commitment that Russia placed on its multifaceted cooperation relations with Vietnam.
The visit of President Putin shows the appreciation of Russia and President Putin and the international community on Vietnam's potential, position and international reputation through 40 years of innovation, affirming their respect for the leadership of the Vietnamese Party.
On January the 30th, 1950, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics was one of the first countries in the world to recognize and officially establish diplomatic relations with Vietnam. After the dissolution of the USSR in December 1991, this relationship was inherited and further built on by Russia. The relationship between the two countries has seen strong development, nurtured and preserved by the two peoples. The two countries have engaged in cooperation in all channels, including foreign affairs, state diplomacy, local cooperation, people-to-people diplomacy, security and defense, economic, trade and investment cooperation, as well as scientific, technological and educational collaboration. In the field of economic cooperation, bilateral trade turnover in 2023 reached $3.3 billion, a year-on-year increase of 2.3%. Russia has implemented nearly 200 projects in Vietnam with a total capital of nearly $1 billion. Meanwhile, Vietnam has also intensified its investment projects in Russia, reaching $3 billion in 2023. Vietnam is a developing country and a growing economy. It is fully capable of bringing huge opportunities to Russia. For example, Russia's investment and production activities in Vietnam, including the mechanical and metallurgical sectors, are on the rise. On the other hand, it should attract Vietnam's investment in Russia, especially in the fields of agriculture and logistic connection. There were 75 years since the two countries established the diplomatic relations. The bilateral relations had witnessed changes with strong developments, but there's one that has not changed. It is a sincere friendship, mutual respect and trust between the peoples of both countries. That is a solid foundation for Vietnam-Russia's relations to become increasingly sustainable and thrive. Thanks to the Soviet people, currently the Russian people, for supporting and training Vietnamese officials. The previous generation of both countries, with efforts to preserve Vietnam-Russia traditional relations, are examples for the youngsters to promote our friendship to new heights. The relationship between our two countries is based on long-standing traditions of friendship, benefits of cooperation and mutual respect. The history of cooperation between the two countries is quite unique. Russia and Vietnam do not have disagreements in the political field. Economic, commercial, scientific, technical and humanistic relations are based on rich experience accumulated in previous decades and are developing strongly in the spirit of comprehensive strategic partnership. The special affection between the Vietnamese and the people of the former Soviet Union, as well as Russia today, is a shining symbol of international solidarity and friendship. And the visit to Vietnam by President Putin has created a new momentum for the two countries to boost the comprehensive strategic cooperation, contributing to stabilizing and maintaining regional and global peace.
Coming up next, Ministry of National Defense leaders inspect preparation for whole military POLITICO-MILITARY conference in the first half of the year. Military press spread with virtues of Anglo soldiers. On the morning of June the 20th, the Ministry of National Defense held a conference to approve documents serving the organization of the POLITICO-MILITARY conference of the whole military in the first half of 2024. Senior Lieutenant General Nguyễn Tân Cương, Chief of the General Staff and Deputy Defense Minister, chaired the conference.
On the basis of the preliminary reports of units in the whole military, the Ministry of National Defense Office drafted out the preliminary report for defense military tasks in the first 6 months of 2024, then sent it to agencies and units for opinions. Speaking at the conference, General Cương lauded the agencies and units for the urgent and careful implementation of preparatory contents for the POLITICO-MILITARY conference in the first half of the year of the whole military and urged them to continue working closely together to thoroughly carry out our preparation work. The report video was asked to be edited to better demonstrate the results of military defense direction and performance of the whole military in the first 6 months of 2024.
On the occasion of the 99th founding anniversary of the Vietnam Revolutionary Press Day, June the 21st, 2024, looking back on the journey with the development of the military, soldier journalists always feel proud that the military press has always been a bridge spreading the good virtues of Anglo soldiers in the hearts of the people. As we are soldier journalists and also Anglo soldiers, not only in the past but today, the spirit of soldier journalists, the cultural value of Anglo soldiers serve as a string that burns the public trust and the fulcrum for the military press to always remember its past, express present and hat for future.
The officers of Defense Economic Unit 356 with the Military Reason 2 offer bring warm rice bonds to retain Highland students in school, and the spirit of Anglo soldiers for the people was spread in the program. The story is not old, broadcast on QPVN channel, thus spreading to the community. I had a desire to spread the image and good virtues of Anglo soldiers to people so that they could be closer to the audience, and we made a documentary called The Story is Not Old to tell stories about the culture of Anglo soldiers. In the People's Army newspaper, right after Arthur Văn Tuan's work, The Three Blooms on the Waves were published. It touched the hearts of many readers with the will to smart hardships, dedication and silent sacrifice of a military doctor at Trương Island Clinic. Through the press, military reporters have helped readers better understand life in border areas in our islands and the good virtues of Anglo soldiers. Its workmanship is an unforgettable experience in the life of a journalist to create good works on Anglo soldiers in peacetime, thus beautifying their good virtues in the heart of the people.
It is the end of the English News Bulletin today. You can always watch our news again at qpvn.vn. But goodbye and see you next time.